Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the regularly scheduled meeting of the Anchorage Advisory Committee. It is 9:06 a.m. and it is time for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll do roll call. So I am Chris Riedel King.
Sam Lurie.
Ted Lawwell, Ed Schoonover.
Jim Adderholt. And Curtis Ludwig.
We are trying to get one of our members on the phone. She will join us as soon as she's on, Jennifer Rusk, and we have one member who is excused. All right,
And an opening.
pardon
And
me?
We also have an
And
opening.
we also have an opening, yes, we can talk about that as well. Public comment? I do not see anyone here joining us today, so we will move on to the approval of the minutes. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes? Do I have a motion?
Sam Lurie, I move we approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? All right. Next on the agenda, we have the Cruiser Appreciation Day. I would like to suggest that we go to the staff reports and member comments first, because Cruiser Appreciation Day, I think, will take us some time to talk through. So does anybody have any objections to that? All right, then Curtis, the floor is yours.
Alrighty. Good morning, everybody. Just want to follow up on some things that we talked about last time, our last meeting, and give you an update of what has transpired with the canal project and where we're at with that, and where we are going to move forward with that project. So just let me start right off with that. So it's going to be on the town council agenda on March 3rd to move forward with the canal debris cleanup. About 2 weeks ago, the project hit its end date to February 10th. After that, we did a 3-day canal assessment of all 43 canals that we have. That includes, we have 30, but once you get into some of the canals, it branches off into others. So we did that, and I want to share this report that I have with you. So once we did the assessment, how we assessed it is we had a color coordination assessment that we did. So green meaning obviously the canal is clear. Yellow states that there's still debris, but it's not navigationally hazardous, but it needs work. And then red meaning we have objects in the middle of the canals that could potentially be a hazard to navigation. So we have 18 that we still have objects in the middle of the canals that put the canals red. And I got 19 green and then 6 are yellow. So we are going to move forward with this starting after March.
Curtis, is
March
that
3rd.
report with the pictures that were sent out to us?
So that is part of it, yes. The pictures that I sent, this is the entire of what we have done this far up to February 10th.
The color-coded canal report that you're speaking of?
That
though?
is not, that's my personal, I can share that with you right here that I have. I
Okay.
can email that out to you. This is my own, I created this myself for when we did the assessment.
Can
But
you
yes,
scan
I
that
can
and
share
send-
that with
right,
you.
Thank you.
Curtis, what's happening on March 3rd at the council level? You're just asking for an extension, or what's happening on the 3rd?
Correct, we are going to ask, for extension and, I believe it's the, approval of the money for up to February 10th, but, all that money is, gonna be FEMA, reimbursement, yes ma'am.
But I mean, just, maybe I'm missing something. So this project's been ongoing.
Correct,
And obviously you're making inroads, and it sounds like there's some additional work that needs to be done.
correct.
So on March 3rd, you're asking just for an extension
Extension, to move forward.
and asking
Into
for those
FEMA.
additional funds for the extension, which would be
Correct.
FEMA reimbursed?
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we made sure that all the money, we are covered, before the reimbursement, so we have the money to move forward, and that's what will be presented on March 3rd.
All good.
And how
Are
much
you-
longer do you anticipate that, as you go forward after that it will take to do the entire cleanup?
We're hoping another month.
So another month from now?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. But, we've been getting a lot of feedback, from the residents. It seems like, a lot of people are happy with the work being done, but we still, they're just, so right now they are over 800, cubic yards of what we've collected. And you'll seeing those pictures of what everything we got, so. And there was never so on February 10th when they stopped, the debris was never, we never saw a drop off. They were still bringing full loads in every single time. So we hadn't seen where we started to, the debris became less as it went. We were still in the thick of things. So that's why we want to move forward.
You have
Doing the assessment, we actually hit some objects and stuff like that. So that tells me right now we still, they still have to dig in the mud and pull
But you
things
have
out.
been all the way down.
all the way down. I've
Yeah.
been through every single canal.
I talked to some neighbors that were very happy, the work you did there.
Very good. Well, thank you.
Do you have a estimate of how much the FEMA reimbursement will be for the entire project, or?
The entire project, yeah, I'm not gonna answer that question right now. I just
Okay.
wanna make sure that that I'm not giving you
Sure.
a, far off number. That's something I can send Joe.
And do you feel like the items you're bringing up really they were there because of Ian, or were they there even longer and we haven't?
So
Been
that is
able to
very
clean up.
hard, that's very hard to determine.
Yeah.
Chris, really, to separate between the three storms with the debris,
Yeah.
it's almost impossible to determine what is what from
Okay.
what. That's just, you can tell that some of them might be sunken in the mud longer or whatever, but really, you don't really know. We have no way of knowing what's from what storm. I wish. But,
Right.
in a perfect world, that's what FEMA wants too, but it's very difficult. So, that was my biggest, thing that I wanted to share with you. My other updates, we are moving forward on the, dinghy dock as well, so that project should start, late spring,
I'm
early
sorry,
summer.
Chris, could you resend me those photos that you, about cleaning out the canal? I can't find those.
See, I
They
had a
just came this
problem with them.
morning.
We were having
Well, they
some.
just came this morning.
Yes,
Yeah.
we were having some email
Just about an
issues
hour
this
ago,
morning,
maybe.
so do apologize.
Oh, I
I'll send them to you.
yeah, that'd be great. And then, has Nicole put those pictures out at all? Do you know?
I've been giving her a few pictures. These are from the contractors and in FEMA, so I haven't put these out yet.
I'm gonna say the people love to see debris
This is
coming out
just
of
the
the canal.
report that they gave me. This is the contractor's report right
Yeah.
here, so.
With those photos, the people really appreciate seeing stuff coming out of the canals and work being done. So I would encourage you to talk to Nicole about sharing that, because
Okay.
that's really welcome news here on Fort Myers Beach when people
Absolutely.
see.
Have you seen some of the stuff we have shared already?
A while back.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was great, but if you've got more, people
Okay.
love to see progress, and
Absolutely.
especially that kind of progress.
Yeah.
One more question before you move on from canals. So this
Yes, ma'am.
is, this is kind of level setting and getting our canals back to where they're navigable. Then is there a phase two of talking about, all right, what's the plan for maintenance and all that stuff? I know we
Correct.
were asking about that.
Correct, so I'm glad you brought that up, because I was gonna get into that anyway, so this
Okay.
kinda leads into this. So, with, finding the old plans and stuff like that, and the, all the data
Mhm.
in the past has been very, very difficult, and for us to, I know that the dredging is a big talk of the town and everything like that. So what we have to do is, we have to require, maintenance records, for the canals.
Okay.
So all that in the past, since the storms and everything, we have not, I believe the town has lost it from the old servers, so I've had some trouble collecting that data. So what we are doing with this canal assessment, that I did, 2 weeks ago, this is gonna start our data for the canals. So we have information now moving forward. This is gonna be part of our records. We're gonna start canal assessments on probably about every 6 months. So, moving forward, and we will keep track of all that. So, moving forward, in event of another storm, any natural disaster, we're gonna have records now to move forward. So when it does come time for dredging and stuff like that, we're gonna be on track and have proof to give them. Everything that's been in the past, I'm having a hard time tracking that down.
When you removed all this, did you do any soundings, or that comes later?
We
For
have, we noticed our depths, in certain canals. And also I took soundings over there by Big Carlos Pass and the channel going into Buccaneer Bay back there. We know that area definitely needs it. That shoal has been sticking out. It's been growing further into the entrance of that canal. When you come in at low tide, I mean, you can barely, you can't really even get in there. And then other canals, we noticed the entrance of the canals are worse, and then towards the end as well. But some canals I was only marking 2 to 3 feet, and that might not have even been at a low, So I know that some need it worse than others. I know some canals we had 8 foot of water in there, and that's more than enough.
So you got some preliminaries on where the
Yes, sir.
trouble spots are.
Absolutely, yes, sir.
Curtis, Ed just forwarded me these pictures. These are amazing. Do we have any, I sure would encourage Nicole to put some of these down.
Okay, I'll get with her.
And second of all, does the company give you some kind of an aggregate tonnage of what they pull out? Is there any way to measure how much?
So that is 800 cubic yards is where we're at right now.
800 cubic yards of debris?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And what would that equate to? Is that, how many dump trucks is that, or how do we, how do we think about it?
I can get the number of loads for you that he ran to take.
Do
each
they
time
weigh it?
he-
Do they weigh it as well, or is
They
it
do.
more? They
They
do.
do weigh it. He has to weigh it. They have to get the dumpster weighed on a weight scale before they offload.
So
it.
they have pulled out 800 cubic yards of debris thus far,
Correct.
and then obviously we're hoping to extend this program on March 3rd.
Yes, sir.
And then we don't know the weight at this point, or
I do.
they know the weight. You just have to get it from.
Yeah,
them?
I'll see if I can get that number.
Okay,
I have
that's-
not. I have not heard or seen that number. So all that we have been giving is the cubic yards.
If they get the weight and that 800 square cubic yards, and then some of these pictures, that would be a great release for Nicole to
Okay,
the
absolutely.
to the citizenry. Yeah.
Sorry, we didn't mean to derail you.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
This is a big
No,
deal.
these
Big
are
deal. This
things
is a
I
big
wanted
deal,
to talk
Curtis,
to you
yeah.
about anyway. So
It's a big deal.
it's all good.
Apparently, a cubic yard is 201 liquid gallons.
That would weigh a lot, I would think, right?
Seems
Yeah.
really, so a gallon is like 8 pounds, so 1,600
There's gonna
pounds.
be air and stuff
I mean,
in
Yeah,
these,
that-
in
Yeah.
these
Correct.
roads,
Right.
so.
You should, I mean, you can see the pilings and things like that. I mean, they're waterlogged, heavy.
It would probably be safe to say tons.
Yeah.
Tons, correct, correct.
We'll equate that to elephants later. All right, you were talking about the dinghy dock, so we're good?
Yeah, so we're moving forward on that. I hope that commences late spring, early summer, and we move forward with that. That's something that I'm looking forward to, I'll tell you that.
And we have temporary, accommodations for when you're installing.
Correct.
Try-
correct.
try to
I'm still
keep it-
working on that with Hurricane Milton, kind of put us in a pinch because, Tanzania had damage to their dock, so only half of their dock is working, but I think we can still push up one of the older floating docks over there, for the temporary, but hopefully it should only be a month or so. I know the Kelly brothers work pretty quickly. Right now in the mooring field, I'm about 15 mooring balls away from being full. I'm still working on those on balls 4 through 9. It's just been a battle. Right now in the busy season, it's been very hard to tackle that battle. We are making it work right now, with the balls that we have open for our bigger vessels. I use that front field strictly for our bigger vessels and for the vessels that cannot fit under the bridge. So that is working, but that's something that hopefully this summer we'll make some huge strides with the Coast Guard with that and getting those back open. But it seems like busy season's upon us. We're getting several reservations every day. The transients are here. They're staying for 3 or 4 days and then moving along. But yeah, once they leave their mooring balls, I got somebody else coming right back on. So I think that we're doing well in that point. I did get a second marine operator. We were in the process of hiring the third, but that fell through. So I'm back to looking for a third operator now. That is where I'm at with my staff. But our new guy Rich, he's doing very well.
He's licensed captain, so he can relieve you on your days off.
Correct. Same with Bobby. All three of us are USCG licensed captains. And Rich has Coast Guard experience as well.
Where did you find them? How did they come to us?
From Indeed, they submitted submitted an application and looking at the resumes and stuff. We went through the hiring process, and Rich was kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Both Bobby and Rich
Good.
are. I couldn't ask for two better people right now.
Excellent.
And then I believe that's it right now for my updates. Is there anything that y'all want me to talk about or elaborate on, or questions? I know we have to talk about the Cruisers
Yep.
Appreciation Day. I know that's the biggest.
Chris, I just wanted to ask you about the
Yes, sir.
financials, if you
Oh,
weren't
yes,
gonna go
absolutely.
into that.
Sorry, that was my neck. Yeah, I meant to bring that up.
What
yes.
was provided to us was, there's no expenses here. It's just all the, payments that we've taken in for
Yeah,
this
that's our
quarter.
revenue for the last 3 months.
Sure. I'm wondering what our expenses were up to that point as well.
I think, Ed, if I could, this might be a good segue maybe for our next meeting. Curtis doesn't really do the financial side of
Correct,
things,
yep.
so if we could have maybe Joe come to maybe a future meeting, and, because he's, for the first time in Fort Myers Beach, long time, they're actually trying to break down those numbers for us.
Correct.
And I think they have to develop kind of a whole new formula to account for it, and, which is good. But I think Joe's the person we need to kind of get in here and answer your questions, because I think he's the person that really has the full look of the whole picture. Is that fair, Curtis?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That's fine.
Okay, I was just thinking we could get a basic look at it without bringing Joe in, so we don't get to the end of the year and find out that we have a huge loss going on, because I would think that we would be the ones that would recommend to council. We can't do much about cutting expenses here at this level, but we can recommend to raise rates if we need to be to even things out.
Well, mind you, I raised rates, right at the beginning,
This year?
of this year, yes.
Yep.
Um,
We slightly raised them. Yep.
Yes, for $30 for the daily rate, and then our monthly rate is $410 a month, and that's not with tax. With tax, it comes out to be $436.46 a month.
Or $438.90?
I think the goal is, and I don't want to speak for Ed, but I think the goal is just to get an aggregate look to make sure that we are at least ballpark revenue neutral as an organization, because we're, by statute, or not by statute, by rule, we're not allowed to make a profit. But at the same time, we want to charge enough to make sure we're not being subsidized by the town. So it's that revenue neutrality that I think the committee's searching for. And I think Joe was helpful the last time, and he's just a stone's throw away, so we could have him come over and,
Okay.
because I think those are good questions, Ed. I mean, we need to be mindful of that all the time.
Yeah, maybe we could do it quarterly and just have a
That's-
glance at where we are to budget, how are we looking, what things need to
Yep.
change, where, because, you know, if we know for first and second quarter that we're killing it, we know that there's going to be some drop off.
Right, yeah,
It's-
obviously, we're in the busy time right now.
It's complicated too, because we get grant money, and we also
Right.
have investments we've gotta make in, the physical plant, so it's just it almost takes Joe to come in and put it together for us, cause but it's something that I think the committee should be very mindful of, and is wise to be mindful of.
Because with the pump out boat and everything that we operate is under the clean water grant that we've received. So
I think the
Yes.
frustration, Curtis, is that the committee in the past has never really been afforded good information.
okay,
And poor Joe, he's living in a bizarro world of the post-Dean bizarro world. We really don't have normal numbers.
correct. That's
Nothing's
what I'm
nor-
getting
yeah,
at. How
yeah.
we operate is more from grants and things of
Right.
that nature, and we
Yep.
get money towards that. So that's why my expenses are. When you ask that question, Ed, it's very hard for me to answer that, because we get money to spend on certain items for my department. So meaning the pump out boat, that money, I have to put everything we do against that grant and
Yeah.
send reports to them, because they're giving us money to operate. So
Sure.
that doesn't come out of the straight
Line item,
mooring
yeah.
field or
Yeah.
from the town of Fort Myers Beach, so.
So that might be interesting to understand exactly what expenses have to be offset by mooring field
Correct.
money coming in.
Correct.
Go ahead, Ted.
Oh, I followed this very closely for many years, and it is so complicated that the figures you can come up with are the income, which they've sent us, and you can come up with what grants they've gotten. You cannot come up with all the little pieces that come out of the budget. Personnel and everything is all spread over, and trying to get that all into one place is virtually impossible.
Yeah.
And what we've got the first step, and in truth, we know that at the end of the year, we're gonna be very close to the right amount of a break even. And if we get more income than that, it goes into the general fund for for improvements. So I don't think we can expect that much detail. And we're lucky to get the income, and on a monthly basis. I don't know whether this was on a monthly, quarterly. It would be nice to have the receipts for the field on a monthly basis, and then to have the occupancy on a monthly basis. And that gives you an idea what we're doing vis-a-vis income of that sort. And that we've tracked through the years and is a useful measure. But trying to track expenses is all, because part of it comes from the grant, part of it comes from here. I don't think we can expect that kind of feedback. But if we could get monthly occupancy and monthly income from the field, then we can kind of figure out what else goes there. But an expense can go from 2 or 3 different sources, and it's just, I found it impossible to do that. And that the committee can tell, I mean, they can tell us, the committee, that we are such and such against budget. And that's gets the answers you were looking for, because I don't think we can draw out all that.
I think that's an excellent point, Ted, but at the same time, Joe has kind of revamped our whole accounting procedures for the town, and he can do things that I didn't know were possible. So we at least ought to, I think it's important for him to hear your point, and to hear from the committee, to challenge him, to see how close he can get, so we can see if we can reach that, at least get comfortable with the revenue neutrality piece. Yep.
Well, finally, we have a budget line for the mooring field. We didn't have that before.
Right, fair point, yeah.
So when we do invite Joe, maybe he can explain to us what
I'd
items,
like to see him.
maybe he can explain to us what items are reconciled and what are the leftovers.
Yeah, I think that's fair. You're a CPA, aren't you? A recovering CPA?
Yeah,
Recovery. You would know the right questions to ask Joe. I don't know those
Yeah, I
questions.
think, because it's so convoluted, if we could just reconcile what he's got reconciled, and he's been working on it to where he's almost can reconcile almost everything probably at this point, because he's been with it long enough. So, and Jennifer's.
Yes, I see. Jennifer, do you have anything you'd like to ask at this point? We're gonna do members' items in a few minutes. Okay, alrighty.
I'm sorry for a sec, do we need a motion to accept Jennifer and
Oh, yeah, why don't you make that motion?
make a motion to accept Jennifer joining us, what would you call that, remotely?
Remotely?
Yes.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So Jennifer, when you do join us, it's all good.
She might be muted.
Okay. Is there anything else, Curtis, or any other questions for Curtis on his reports? Okay, I'd like to do member items and reports at this time so that we can devote the rest of our meeting to cruiser appreciation. So, Ed, do you have anything?
I don't have anything to add until we get to the cruises
Okay.
appreciation, yes.
Ted?
Should I do
You can do your thing, or I can do
About-
your thing, whichever you wanna do.
Yeah, well, I'll do the cruisers.
When we get to cruisers?
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Sam?
I had one item, and it's more of a general counsel item. And I noticed that, I gotta say, Chad this beach is unbelievable. It's spectacular, with the renourishment. However, the last couple meetings, Chad has, you might wanna correct, we have $10 million of free money. And I don't think there is any such thing, we're the recipients, but we're also, the beneficiaries, but we're also the custodians of it. And I know what he's saying, but it comes across as that it is free money, but in fact, it's probably, a lot of it's federal, state money, it's coming from other
It's all
places.
taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
It's all taxpayer
Point
dollars.
is well made and well taken. Yeah.
But I would like to just disclaim that he is watching that. So when he says free money, he is taking care of it and watching every penny of it go through, but it's not exactly free.
It's absolutely not free money, it's taxpayer dollars, but it is an amazing Herculean task that the team from the town has taken basically $2 million of town taxpayer dollars and leveraged an additional $50 million of federal, state, and county tax dollars to help with our beach renourishment. But it is, you're right, absolutely not free money, it's taxpayer dollars.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's
He's-
spectacular, yep.
It's amazing.
Yep.
That's it for me.
Okay. Do we have Jennifer?
Oh, one more.
Okay, all right,
One
one more
more.
thing, go Sam.
I was assigned last time to check out which private canals and public canals on LIPA. I neglected to do that. I'll do that for next meeting.
Okay, I have a small handful of things. First of all, just kind of a reminder, Vice Mayor, we still have not had sunshine training scheduled for our
Oh.
committee. That was scheduled last year, right around the time that we got hit with 2 hurricanes, and it has not yet been rescheduled. And also question for you about how we're going about getting an additional member to our committee. Have there been any applications? Is there a deadline? What's the process?
I would have to yield to Amy on that, but it has been, and actually Nicole did a press release and mentioned it opening on, I think, both CellCab and, CellCab one's been filled, but, on Anchorage Advisory Committee as well. Do you have an update on that, Curtis?
No, I do not, but I know that, just like you said, Vice Mayor, she did put out a post with that. What I'll do is, I'll get with her. I'll see if she can repost it again after this meeting, see if we can.
And
anything
again,
else.
anybody-
I'll get with Amy on what we have to do to move forward to, get the seat filled as well, and then I'll ask her about the sunshine.
Again, anybody on the committee who knows of somebody who's an active voter or has an active interest, word of mouth is always a great way to help get the word out. And there's a very modest application that folks go through and that gets submitted to the town clerk, Amy Baker, who you can reach here at the town hall. And then once that is submitted, then whoever the applicants are would come before council, and then we would make that selection process.
Yeah, I just didn't know if there was a time frame for
I don't think
filling
there's a
these kinds
time
of
frame
things,
per
or-
se, but obviously the sooner the better.
Right,
But there's no formal time frame. Obviously, as soon as we get a qualified applicant, that would certainly stir up the process, and if we get a good one, we may be able just to go forward with just one if we have a good one.
okay. I was really impressed by the level of information that Captain Chris Whitman provided us on Friday from Captains for Clean Water. And I don't know how we move forward in supporting that effort, but I personally would like to encourage the council and the members of this committee to, be as vocal as possible about the great work that they're doing and the fact that water quality really is a top concern for us here. And I loved how he came from a business economic sort of background when talking about the need for this. So, I mean, it's not just environmental concern, it's our livelihood really.
Just by way of background on that, Madam Chair, about 4 years ago, when I first ran for council, one of my campaign planks was to initiate a letter writing campaign to both the state legislature and the federal legislators, particularly with our snowbirds who come and visit, and they're from all over the country, and worked with the town's PIO, and the town actually gave me a little budget to work with, and we put out a mail piece to everybody who lived on Fort Myers Beach explaining how to write your state rep, how to write your federal congressman or woman, and then we got that word out through a mail piece, and then we also did full-page ads in the news press. We did full-page ads in the Observer, and we did a kind of almost a grassroots campaign to get people to write to support funding for Everglades restoration, and obviously all that helps, and Beach Talk Radio, I did numerous interviews with the Beach Talk Radio folks, and they did a great job of helping getting the word out, and so it's and as the captain said the other day, complacency is probably our biggest enemy, because people think it's, the governor just put forth another aggressive funding budget for Everglades restoration. But as time goes on, there's lots of competition for those dollars in the legislature. So that vigilance of staying in touch with your local representatives as well as your members of Congress, and particularly if you're not from Florida, if you could write somebody who's from your home state where you're living or you're a resident, really helpful to broaden the support, so it's just not the two Florida senators going for the federal money. We do pretty well at the state Florida level, but the federal is where we have challenges because lots of competition for those federal dollars.
So I'm just, wondering, as our mayor and other representatives go to Tallahassee or go to Washington DC, can they make sure to, bring up the fact that we care deeply about water quality, and without it, our economy is, will be in shambles, because that is our lifeblood.
Economy and quality of life,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, absolutely. No, I'll help spread the word.
Okay.
And as part of this committee, our submerged water lease and our rules and regulations are strict regarding the pump outs. So I think if there's anything else we could do, we can add it to it. But for now, it seems like we're trying to do our part,
Right.
at least in the mooring field.
And I think you asked about septics, and there really are, or maybe Ed did, there are no more septics, I'm told, on
On
Fort
the
Myers Beach, so we've done a good job there. Now, the Lee County's got some work still to do, but Fort Myers Beach has done a nice job on eliminating the septic fields.
Excellent. And I had one other thing, and this is actually from Ted. As our historian extraordinaire, he provided me some information about the 2017 ordinance that actually established, and correct me when I go astray here, Ted, that established the mooring field and established the duties of this committee. But when the mooring field plan was rewritten, a lot of these duties of the committee were not included in that document. And so he's raising a question as to whether we need to relook at that document and make sure that the committees that are necessary by statute are included in that document.
And,
Go ahead.
Did I get that right?
yeah, I was going, and whether the original ordinance is still in effect, which would get the same effect.
My question was, are you referring to the management plan, the harbor management plan?
Yeah,
Do we
here's the
have-
way it went, if I may, just a moment. We had a
Ted,
whole set.
pull that mic towards you. Yeah.
We had a whole set of rules that were the harbor management plan, which described the committee and everything, which was required for our lease. And we worked on it every year and modified it to fit. And then we did not have any management plan for the boaters, so, or for the effectiveness of the marina. So that was worked up by a bunch of lawyers to what you see now online is our management plan. And that plan was turned in, as far as I can tell, as the management plan, and is now, quotes, the management plan. The question is, what happened to the original management plan that had all the description of the duties of the committee and all of that? And the new plan was sent in directly. They spoke to us, I believe, about it, but I'm not sure. They sent in all the laws and the rules and regulations made up for the operation of the marina itself.
Correct.
So the question is, does the committee still exist? Does the original,
Ordinance?
ordinance, which we have the number of the ordinance.
Yes, and I'll make copies after this if we can.
And
make
is that
copies for
still
you.
hold?
Okay.
Jim.
Because the new quotes plan, oh, by the way, when they sent that plan in, they made a disclaimer at the beginning that this was in consultation with the committee. So I assume the committee is still necessary for the lease management plan. I'm just trying to straighten out between the old plan and what's now the new plan that doesn't even address all of the materials in the plan we had prior to that time.
And that's a good question, and my suggestion would be that we or that the committee authorize the chair to reach out to our town attorney. Sounds like you could also mention the need to be briefed on the sunshine laws as well.
Okay.
But see if the town attorney can update what the current ordinance is, and is it consistent with the questions that you raised?
Yeah. Question is whether the old ordinance is still in effect
Yeah.
in spite of the new one.
It's a good question. I don't know the answer, but our town
Okay.
attorney should be able to do a little research and find that out.
Okay.
She doesn't have that institutional memory that you do, but
Yeah.
I think the chair could work with her on that, yeah.
Yeah, or I
Be
could
happy
go
to do
with
that.
you if you.
Yep.
Yeah, or
Because
maybe,
I think, Ted, what I'm thinking is, so the new harbor management plan, that's those are my rules, that's how I operate.
Right.
Operate the mooring field. So what I think, because I've never seen what was in effect prior, or this old ordinance, so what I think potentially what we could do is advise the harbor management plan we have now, re-advise it, and add the committee part to it, and then,
Yeah,
do you think,
you're right on, and I don't know the answer to that. The lawyer
Right.
would have to say, but, yeah, the structure, to me, the new harbor management plan is underneath the original harbor management plan, as this is the present way we operate, and it's been approved by the committee and so forth. Your idea sounds very good.
So just understanding the hierarchy of the plans and making sure that both are in effect and in alignment with each other.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay.
Does Chris need a motion for that to approach the attorney?
I wouldn't think so, but it certainly makes it, gives her all the more
Make it
authorization,
a little
yeah.
bit more formal?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion for Chris to approach the town attorney regarding the ordinance for the Anchorage Advisory Committee. Is that correct?
Second?
Second by Ted. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, terrific. Jennifer, are you with us?
Is her microphone muted, maybe?
All right, well, just break in anytime if you have some member comments and you would like to say anything. Otherwise, do we have any other member comments?
Well, I just wanted to give Curtis a reminder for the canal report, that color-coded
Yeah,
Yeah.
canal report, that you send that out to us.
Yeah,
so we get that.
absolutely.
Yeah, I know sometimes we'll go off and talk about Cruisers Appreciation
I
Day
know.
now, and that seems like the report was last week.
And if that could be posted on the website too somehow, Curtis, I think people would be very interested in your report.
Okay.
is there anything in there that's sensitive that you can't
I'm
share?
I'm just gonna double check things before I do
That's
it,
okay,
and then
that's
I'll
okay.
I'll put it out.
Okay,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
all right, how about we move on to Cruiser Appreciation Day, see where we are and see what we need to get done, because this is coming up in 2 months-ish. Okay. Ted, is there something that you wanna say first? You wanna
Yeah.
give us a little history?
Yeah, history buff there again. Basically, I have a pitch that the Cruisers Appreciation Day is the Cruisers Appreciation Day. And that the cruisers say a lot about what they find at our location, and every positive thing helps our usage of the usage of our field and other occupancy. So the occupancy of the field is affected by our reputation, and our reputation is through the cruisers network. These are my impressions. And I feel that the Cruisers Appreciation Day is something that gives a positive, that goes throughout the area and helps the area. To be an appreciation day, I would hope that the one purpose of the day is to show appreciation to the cruisers, and that we not bring in a whole lot of other activities or try to raise funds or other things to that day, but concentrate on the cruisers. And much of the success of the Cruisers Appreciation is due to the hard work, organizing ability, and personality of Sam Lurie, plus his network of contacts in every part of the island. I propose that we continue this year with the format that has been developed over the years by Sam, and consider waiting to make large changes until we've seen how this works out. And I would like to think that Sam will still be the center of the organization of it and can make the appropriate choices, which I'm sure he would, as to what we include and what we don't include.
Okay. Reaction. So, Ted, are you suggesting that we don't have it at Bayside Park, we don't make it
No.
as visible and?
No,
And
no,
that is-
I'm saying that I'm saying that that Sam make he had previously said he would, talk to the local people and, set up what he could set up. My feeling is knows them all, and he would be the one to set up how it's gonna be this year, and that we not have other people inviting tents and so forth into the meeting except through Sam.
Okay,
That was my thought, is to try to not let it get out of hand, because it's been so great in the past, and wouldn't want to change it till we know where we're going. I don't know whether Sam likes that idea or not.
Thanks, Ted. Well, I appreciate that, and I have been involved a lot in the past, but we're turning the page. This is going to be far and above what we have planned this year is going to be far and above anything we ever did before, and I think we'll discuss about having the tents. We did kind of preliminarily discuss, what would be appropriate and what wouldn't be appropriate at last meeting. Bigger is better, and I used to know everybody on the beach, but everything's kind of changed. And it's going to be a little bit of a struggle this year compared to other years getting merchants to donate for our raffle. But on the other hand, a lot of them are getting back in the saddle, and and probably will have a lot to offer. My opinion is bigger may be better finally, and that we're just like, we have a blank slate right now. We can make this we can start new traditions and new everything, and now that we've got a great location to do it, that we should just make it as big and as great as we can, and not lose track of inviting the public and encouraging the public along with the cruisers. We want to give them their meal and a little special attention, but the more public we get involved, I think having it as a festival is a great idea, and expanding it and make it bigger is a good idea.
I must admit, I didn't talk to Sam before this, because we're not
We're not
supposed to be
allowed.
talking. And my whole thing was to go with his judgment, so I made my peace, and I think that settles any questions that I may have brought up.
no, I appreciate your comments, Ted, because it may have ballooned past what you have done in the past, and that it certainly wasn't, I don't think anybody's intention to hijack this and take it in a different direction. I think we are looking at what sort of facilities we have available, and the opportunity to make it more of a community, not just thanking the cruisers, because obviously that was the intention all along, but how do we educate and bring people along so that they understand how important these cruisers are for us?
As long as we can have the cruisers feel it
Yes.
is their day and it is being done for them.
Right.
And there's one more piece. Ted and I have been through a few of these, so one thing that we can really help the committee with is the mechanics of it all, because we've kind of learned the hard way on a lot of this stuff about handling just the mechanics of handling the money, the raffle, scheduling the raffle gifts, assigning people, trying to get these. That's one of the hardest things, is just trying to get all the raffle prizes together to make it exciting for everybody, and that's our main, our source of the income to fund this whole thing. And the mechanics of it, we've had a couple little hiccups along the way, so I think between Ted and I, we should be able to give good input on just handling the check-in, just the function of the whole day.
Well, I think it's a good opportunity, especially with the community being invited, to do some educational outreach to people. Like, I think we mentioned that Captains for Clean Water was a good, presentation that he gave us. And it just comes down to whether it's our job to educate the public, or if it's the PIO's job or somebody else's job to educate the public. And I think as a committee, it's not that big of a deal for us to take that on.
If
And
I
at
could-
least give it a try.
If I could just give a note of an update from Jennifer Rusk. She hoped obviously to be on the Zoom call, but it sounds like she's having some technical challenges. But she sent Curtis, Amy Baker, and myself an email this morning
Yeah.
explaining her absence. But she said if she can't Zoom in, she said please share with members that the Bayside Park is. Boy, I hope I get this right. I don't know what the sign is for yards or feet. It's 30 feet or 30 yards wide on turf. What is that, Curtis? Is that feet or yards?
So that is
It's feet wide.
30 feet.
That's feet. That's
30
feet.
I
30
walked it
feet
off.
wide on turf and can fit 3 10-by-10 tents tightly or too comfortably. The Coast Guard Auxiliary, Captains for Clean Water in Keeply County Beautiful have been invited. We can set up a few tables for them. Thank you, Jennifer Rusk.
Okay, excellent.
Just by way of information.
On that topic, I went and walked it also, and it's not huge, but the perimeter with the restaurant, especially with Snug Harbor, they actually have tables that almost come right up to it, and same with Nervous Nelly. So if we can kind of save that space for the event itself and get the food and everything a little bit away from there, we should have room for those tents.
Well,
I had
thank
one-
you, Jennifer.
One more thing along those lines, do we need a permit, a special event permit for this? Was that a question?
Nancy has not reached out to me, the attorney has not reached out, so I guess I can add that to my,
So
other
that was
attorneys.
my next question, because I did have a brief conversation with Nancy, and she had some particular guidance with respect to how we fundraise and who fundraises
Okay.
and so forth. So if we could have the chair
I can do that.
do a Vulcan mind meld on Nancy on
Yeah.
the procedures,
Okay,
because I think this is certainly all new to Nancy as well. I tried to kind of explain what we're trying to accomplish, and she did have some thoughts and guidance on that, which I think would be timely and helpful.
And
Okay.
if I talk with Nancy this week, I'll ask her
I
as
can
well
put
and
together a
get her
list
to-
of questions,
Absolutely.
so I'll add the other ones from the
I think
other-
it'd be great for you actually to talk to her, Madam
Okay,
Chair,
all
because it's hard to, things get lost in translation when you're just emailing questions back and forth.
Okay,
Madam Chair?
yes, Jennifer.
Hi, I thought the meeting started at 10.
No, 9.
That was the last one.
I mean,
Oh, that's what time it was on the on the message from the town. It said 10 a.m. for this meeting.
I have the agenda and it says 9 a.m., so I'm sorry
The
if that was.
captains,
Oh,
the captains.
Sorry,
was 10.
I didn't miss much.
So we just started talking about the Cruisers Appreciation Day. So we'll go through some of the items and feel free to chime in.
Yes, ma'am.
And the Vice Mayor just read your information about the folks that you've reached out to and the size of Bayside Park, so that sounds good. Did you give
Yep.
them a date to respond, Jennifer?
Well, they all said they were interested,
Okay.
but I guess we need to figure out the logistics of the size and the tent and things like that. It's 30 feet wide, turf on the turf, which of course, maybe Councilman Adderholt had already explained. That's 3 10-by-10 tents, which is kind of tight.
Yep.
My idea is to maybe have our tent, Anchorage committee tent, and then Murph tent with some tables that can go around the perimeter of the turf grass. But that's just my idea. So,
Yeah. So share
And I-
space.
and I did reach out to several places and people, nonprofits, for to see if they want to hand out information. So just waiting on to figure out how many we want or how many people we can, fit.
Okay.
Jennifer, I know the turf area, I went and looked at it also, is 30
Yes, sir.
foot wide. Is part of Bayside Park also the crushed shell, that perimeter?
Yes, yes. The crushed shell that's around the turf.
Yeah, so maybe
Yeah.
between.
There's like a sidewalk, a little sidewalk
Yeah,
on each
be-
side.
between between the turf, the AstroTurf, and Snug Harbor, there's a bunch of crushed shells. Is it possible that we could utilize that either for the pop-ups or for more of an area that we can use?
Sure.
Good.
We definitely want to make it easy for people to, mingle around and walk around. And we don't want to get in anyone's way. So, but I would think it would be okay.
And maybe we could have we could do a layout next meeting of.
Yes, yes.
Plan.
That's exactly my thoughts as well.
Did you get a measurement of how long that is, at least from the
Yep.
from like the
Oh,
road to the stage?
The length from the stage, you mean?
Yeah, like say from the road to the stage from Old St. Carlos.
Yeah. So my husband has this handy dandy app that you take a picture and it gives you all the dimensions. But he's in Washington State right now, so I don't have that information. But
Okay.
I can get it pretty quickly and
I think it
get
was
that
just
and
under
bring it
60
to the
feet.
next meeting.
I think it was just under 60 feet from the road to
Oh.
the front of the stage.
Right.
I think we
Okay.
could do like an L type shape and fit as many pop-ups as we intend on having.
Sure.
you
Sure.
know.
Yeah. L shaped with our entrance being on the Nervous Nelly side of it, and
Sure.
then starting from the Anchorage tent, and then the Murph tent, and then some tables going along as an L shape down to the stage. That, if that's all right with you all.
So, Mr. Vice Mayor, quick question. Are we allowed to have subcommittee meetings? Would it be allowable for Sam and Jennifer to meet to map out things and figure that
Mm.
out? Is that allowable?
I think the attorney might have some concerns about that, but I would add that to your list.
Okay.
Yep. I don't think there's precedent for that.
Okay.
I could be wrong
It's
on that.
awfully hard to
I
plan
know.
events when you have to do
I
it
know.
on a onesie
I
kind
know,
of
I know,
basis.
I know.
And since we are going from 1 to 3:30 and the music doesn't start until 4, and do we even know if there is music scheduled that day?
It is.
It
I
is
have
great.
confirmed that. Yep, there is
That
a-
maybe we can use the stage area as long as we can just get out of there quick. And that'll give us some extra space to either set up our, a pop-up or
Well, Sam,
just.
you've got quite of an experience. How much time would the band need to set up?
Um,
This is your forte here.
It's been done in 5 minutes, depending on what kind of band. If they've got a full band, it's going to take them the full half
Well,
hour. But if it's just Erin and her guitar guy or something like that, it's a 10 or 15 minute thing.
And I can't remember what the
And-
band was, but there is a band that night. So I
Well,
can
I
find
think
out.
that you would certainly do your raffle winners from the stage.
Yeah,
That
Right.
you'd be one person, you wouldn't be in the way of a setup for anything. I think you'd want to stay away from putting an actual booth on the stage. Yeah.
No, but we can use that maybe for some tables or just a gathering area, or just
Sure.
for a standing area,
Yeah.
or gathering area.
or you have your boaters check in there or something, so it's prominent. And you'd have your check-in all done by the time the band would need to set up, so you could move out of the way.
On that note, hate to butt in, but are we gonna have a bailout plan for rain? We may have to decide at our next meeting or before the event whether, if it gets rained out, whether it's a total washout and a cancel, or whether it's a reschedule, or, we've done it in the rain before, and it wasn't bad. And that location is probably gonna be a little more receptive than what we had, although we were under the bridge when it rained one time, so it kept us covered. But we may have to consider that next meeting, that if it does get rained out, what do we do?
Or, does it shrink in size and we just concentrate on feeding the cruisers?
And
Does
just
it
have it.
become, whoever we work with as a restaurant, which I haven't done anything yet, so we need to do that, maybe you have, but, do we just not do the public part of it that day and just concentrate on making sure that the boaters get their meal?
Ted and I know these people. There could be a hurricane. If there's free
Well,
food
no.
and a free drink, they're showing up. These
We
mooring,
don't
the
bring up
mooring
the
field people, right,
hurricane.
Curtis? If it's raining, they're showing up in their foul weather gear.
Absolutely. They were out this morning, went around doing
Okay.
it doesn't stop them.
Yeah.
Let's
No.
put it that way, they gotta keep going, so.
I would encourage, since you've got some outreach to do as well, Curtis, that both you and the chair get together with the town attorney and just powwow about what she's comfortable with in terms of who can ask who what.
Okay,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I
that
agree.
would be great, yeah.
all right, I'll try and set
Just,
something up.
just for everybody's own protection.
So I have some things to add. John Wesley Nash, he's not here, but he sent me some stuff. He's done a lot of work
Oh, wow.
before he left. So he has some items already for gift baskets from friends from Lover's Key. There is he has a water bottle on here, coffee mugs, beach. He has coasters, a long sleeve performance shirt, another short sleeve, a hoodie, a Lover's Key hoodie, and 3 folk stuffed. And I guess they're the small
animals?
stuffed animals.
Nice.
Yes, so that's a value of $220. And I have some pictures. I don't know if I could. That's where I'm learning too. If I could share this with y'all that he sent me.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, especially in this context,
Okay.
think so.
So we could break that up into a couple of different baskets. if
Correct.
we
Yeah.
wanted
There's
to.
some. Hold on. There's some more
Okay,
things as well.
It would become a public record, obviously, once you did that, Curtis, which I don't think's a problem either.
No, because we're gonna advertise it anyways.
Can
And-
I suggest Mound House Day, like 2 passes from Mound House, maybe?
Okay.
I can reach out to Jeff and see if, or Adam, and see if they would want to contribute.
So that's a good point. So folks, friends of Lover's Key, it's important that when we've done this in the past, that somebody else does not approach them. So I suggest that maybe we take a list of the possible contributors, divvy them up so that everybody isn't knocking on Anita Saracita's local color, that everybody isn't approaching the Lani Kai or the same places. And if somebody does have a connection with the business, that they be assigned that business just because they either know the owners. And
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, Sam. I would just caution everyone until Nancy, our town attorney, opines on who can do and ask what. I know we've done a lot of things in the past, which is wonderful and it's all good, but it's a new town attorney, a new sheriff in town, and they've got new perspectives on how and who and what can be asked for and why, and it doesn't always make a lot of sense, but we've got to, for everybody's protection, we want to make sure everybody's good. So let
I'll
maybe.
try and get that
I
scheduled
think that
soon.
call would be good,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
Curtis need to be involved
That's a
in that as
good
well.
point, Councilman, because for years, I was told by the past town attorney that on town property and town business that we can't promote businesses. So that's a good point and something we definitely need to look into.
Okay. But
But
in
we
the,
Or
can-
for,
We can ask them for our sponsorship, for their sponsorship for this and everything, right?
I don't know, we'll have
It's
to ask that
certainly a
question.
gray area.
Yeah.
I know we've looked into that in a different committee that I'm on for the town. And
Sam, have you had sponsors in the past, or y'all just kind of all did it?
we have, and we've had we've had this at Matanzas, which is private property. We've also had it under the bridge, under the supervision of a special events permit, or at least a permit requiring the fire and police department. But I don't know what the real regulation
I think
is.
on the permit issue, Curtis, you probably ought to stop and see Tracy and
Yeah.
just see what we need.
I'm gonna
So
go
maybe
turn that
before
around.
we solicit any more gifts, we save that for next month, and we will have time. And in the meantime, we can make a list of everybody
Yeah.
that we think, list of the hotels, the restaurants that we think marinas would be, raffle participants, and then divvy them up at the next meeting, which will give us plenty of time before the event.
And some of this work has already been done by Ted. I have another email, that's why I'm asking, I would
By
like to
John?
share,
Yeah.
from John,
Yeah,
yes, sorry.
okay, that'd
That
be
I would
great.
like to share, because he has examples of, raffles that we should do, examples of gift baskets in here. And it seems like he's took these pictures, from other events that happen with the town, so I think that,
Maybe before
I'm
you,
thinking that sponsors is not a.
maybe
you know,
before you
a
share
no.
that, you ought to have your call with
Correct,
Nancy
correct.
first. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right, so we're gonna figure out what exactly we can do in terms of what permits we need, how we can approach businesses, if we can approach businesses for their support either monetarily or giving us raffle gifts. And, this is on my list, paying for security. And then the other stuff that I needed to.
And do we
talk to you
need,
about.
are we gonna need a special event? When we did it in the past, we needed fire permission and police, I think we needed a police sign off, and I'm not sure what else we would need.
It's usually fire and sheriff in addition to the
Yeah.
town, but Curtis could check with Tracy, our events, our permit person for special events. I would also just, depending on how the call goes with Nancy, we may wanna get sort of an aggregate budget goal as to how
Yes.
much we're gonna need.
Exactly, that's
And,
sort of,
and if Nancy puts a crimp in your operations,
yeah,
I think we need to be prepared to see if the town could help fund part of the event if necessary.
well, that's my question, I know that there is a line item in the budget for this
Mhm.
committee. Does anybody know how much that was? I'm thinking it's 2,000, but I could be wrong.
It's gone from 1,200 to 800 to 600.
Okay.
I don't know what it is now.
I don't know what it currently is,
Okay.
but certainly, this entity that we oversee is, as we've just discussed earlier, is a revenue neutral entity. And obviously to market and promote it is a legitimate expense, and if this is to appreciate and market and promote the Anchorage, or the mooring field, again, I'll defer to Nancy, but that would seem like a very legitimate expense. So again, depending on what the ethics constraints that the town attorney places upon the committee, if they create challenges, then we probably ought to think about potentially the mooring field itself helping to promote it and sponsor it. So a lot of unknowns, but I just, that's why I encourage that conversation with the town attorney.
Okay.
But at least in my personal opinion, it to me seems like a very legitimate expense for the mooring field to take on, to promote and support those who are our best customers.
And I'm going to just guesstimate that, if we could get the meals for 15 to 20 bucks, and we said we're estimating 300 people on the very high side, and that's all of the cruisers, plus the people on the sort of VIP guest list, so we're looking at maybe a budget of $6,000. Now, if there's 2,000 available, yeah, look at your eyes, that was fun. I'm just doing some quick math here.
Inflation, yeah.
And
No, it
could-
used to be
and
10, but now
could
it
be
is
far
15,
less.
yeah.
I mean, if we talk to the restaurants and,
Well, it's been 10 in the past, and that was the minimum, to get
Yeah.
a sandwich and
Yeah.
a soft drink,
So
so
we-
it's probably
we
gonna be
have no
closer to
idea.
15.
until we
I
talk
think
to
you're
people.
on the
But
money.
I'm just saying, high side,
Mhm.
that might be what we need. But hopefully not.
Well, and again, this committee may have a certain allotment, but the mooring field obviously is its own
Mhm.
operation, and I don't think we would necessarily be constricted to this
Okay.
committee's allotment. And I think we've already got a sponsor with Beach Talk Radio. Again,
Great.
have to vet all that with the town attorney. Everybody's extremely well-meaning. Nobody's trying to do anything wrong. We're just trying to figure out under a new town attorney, what the guidelines would be.
So one thing we might have to do today is, if we're gonna order keychains, we might have to approve that to have enough time. I don't know, were you able to look into that, Curtis, or is that something that we need to look into?
The key change, I have not had the time to look into.
I have the-
do
I asked
apologize.
Gayla at the chamber if they had any other tchotchke vendors. She
Yeah.
did not get back to me on that. I can ask her one more time, but yeah, definitely, I think we do need to get moving on ordering if we want to have something in time, not knowing.
I think the turnaround time on the one I looked at was 2 weeks, but
Okay.
you never know on that.
And I will, I'll give our attorneys a call right after this meeting and try to get something set up
Okay.
today or tomorrow as soon as possible, so we can, cause I don't want her to give us something and hinder some
Yeah,
of our plans and we gotta
Right.
go
Right.
backwards,
I'm free all afternoon, so
Okay.
Make the order.
just need to get myself organized. So Sam, what are you thinking the cost for the keychains would be, and how much?
They were, I think 250 of them was $300 out the door. So a
basically
little over
$1
a buck.
piece.
Yeah, $1.25 a piece, something like that.
And I think, again, it's nice for Curtis and his team to have a few extras for people who visit the facility. And
Yep.
I mean, it's nice to have that kind of a gesture.
And if we do 250
Maybe
and we
we'll-
hand out 50 or 75 of them, we'll have it. Because we always had a big box of them and we used them for years. We still had
I'd say order
3/4 of the
500.
box left.
Yeah, I think that's great.
I would say order 500, I mean, especially if you can get a price break.
And they're great. People love them.
Yeah, they are. They're something people will use.
So do you wanna keep investigating that, and, maybe you
Why don't-
can send us a proposal via email that Curtis could send to the rest of us?
Why don't I send an order like almost ready to go except for the click? I can send that to Curtis. There were two different companies that I looked into. They were pretty similar. And maybe I'll read the reviews on them and send, both of them, but they were similar price, similar, they're the exact same keychain, just two different vendors. And it's the buoy ones that we like.
Yes.
And we can choose a color. You can choose red, green, or blue. Usually we go with the red and white, but whatever. I think last time we went with the green.
Last time was green.
Yeah,
that's
last
the
time
one
was
I had
green.
that got lost in the end.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do we
Th-
need,
go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead, Ted.
do we need a motion to set aside a certain amount of money so that all this can occur? Or make a budget or anything so that, Sam can go ahead and start some of these, orders and procedures? I don't know whether that's appropriate or not.
No, that's fine. That's what I do with Murph. They approved a certain amount of budget for me to replace some stuff I lost during Hurricane Ian in regards to the Murph pop-up. So if we go ahead and say, a certain amount can be budgeted for the keychains, and then we all move a motion and approve it, then we can move on from this.
How much, Sam?
I would just like to, it's gonna depend on what the town attorney says, but I would hope that we would be able to put this day on without taking money from the taxpayers of this town.
That's the
just
raffle.
way
That
I
would be
feel.
the
That's the raffle, so if we can get the raffle going. One more thing about the raffle, in the past, we sold tickets for $1, and I suggest we do that again. However, me and Ted, we forgot to mention that we did 6 for $5 and like 13 for $10, so, and everyone stepped up to the, the $5 and the $10 purchases. And we always sold at least 350 raffle tickets. People were just buying 20 at a time and, 10, 15, 20
Sure.
at a time. So, assuming good weather, we probably can count on at least $300 or $400 from the ticket sales for that. And that usually that mostly covered the meal expense that we had.
But until we get
What-
the answer.
What is what are we planning on putting on the keychain? like the Fort Myers Beach logo
QR
and
code, I think, is what we talked about
But-
for the mooring field, if you
Yeah,
could.
either a QR code if you can do it on that rounding, if not, at least the website, and similar to what the past ones were. You only get 1.5 by 1 inch, in one color. So we'd have to design that. That sounds like something Nicole would probably help us with.
But it would at least have our name on it, right?
Yes.
Right, like
And
from
a
a Kansas
website.
Pass mooring field or,
Yep.
or.
It,
you
no,
know,
it says Fort Myers, Town of Fort Myers Beach, mooring field, whatever the old one said,
That's fine.
and it had our logo on it.
And just keep in mind, you know, the departments for each town, there's color coordinated. We're blue or light
Okay,
blue,
all
so if you wanna,
Blue.
I don't have any preference in the color of the keychain. It doesn't bother me at all.
Blue
I'm
is-
just,
blue
I'm
is
just
available.
adding that little
Yes.
piece in there if you wanna do that or not, it's.
Well, blue is
totally-
available, and since we used green last time, blue would probably be good. That'd be the new.
I still
Up-to-date
think
color.
it depends on the town attorney's opinion, because even something as simple as the keychain could have the
Correct.
mooring field logo on one side and a business's logo on the other side, and it doesn't cost the town anything.
If that would be allowable, yeah.
I would just add to Ed's point, the goal is to not use any taxpayer dollars, but if we did need help from the town, it would come from the mooring field account, which is paid for by the patrons of the mooring field,
Sure.
not the regular residents of Fort Myers Beach, but
You're talking
your
about
point-
my budget?
your budget,
the
Curtis.
mooring field?
Yes,
Okay.
it would come out of your budget.
That's just my preference.
Yep.
No, I think
No,
it's,
I
it's,
think
so.
it's-
I would
no, I
vote.
think it's a good point, and I think, but when you think about this enterprise that we're overseas, it is the funds that are generated through the budget of Curtis, not the general fund of the taxpayers of Fort Myers Beach. So that, I think we should differentiate, to your point, Ed, that if we need to draw, it would be from the funding that comes from those who patronize the mooring field.
And then moving forward in the future, right, I mean, these are items now that I'm getting a better sense of, been here for about 9 months now, so getting a better sense, so when it comes up to, look at the budget when we do every fiscal year, these will be,
Could
this
build
will
it
be
in.
an item I
Yep.
can add in to the
Yep.
budget and
Right.
expect moving forward, we'll make it work this year, but moving forward will be a
Agreed.
lot more prepared down the road.
Plus, we'll have the attorney's opinion,
Great.
because
My- my-
the sponsorship would be, yeah.
In my brief exchange with her, it didn't leave me with lots of optimism in terms of flexibility, but again, we'll get, film at 11,
Okay.
more to be.
Okay. So do we feel comfortable with moving forward with ordering the keychains, making a motion that we would set aside, let's say $500 to order
So
the
moved.
keychains?
I.
I
Okay, all in
Second discussion.
discussion?
I'm thinking 500's a lot. I'm thinking, and I don't think there's a price break. I think it's only a nickel or something. I'm thinking 250, and I believe the out-the-door price delivered and everything was around $300.
you don't have to spend the whole 500. It's just, it's just there for you.
Right, to make it
of course,
available.
we would love to do it for less. But I think, you don't have to spend that 500. We're just moving a motion to give you that opportunity to, if it's 350, 400,
Okay.
or even either way, you don't have to spend that money. It's just that we're allowing that money to be spent if need be.
Whose money?
Well, this would be the town's money right now, but
Okay.
knowing that if you're allowed to have sponsors, if you're allowed to do the raffle tickets, we'll try to offset.
So this motion is.
Well, wait a
to
minute,
ask-
wait a minute, you said the town's money.
I'm sorry, the marine field
Thank you, yeah,
budget.
to your
Budget.
point, yeah.
And further discussion, if this motion passes, I would like to just work with Curtis and Nicole to design it and order it through whoever in the town would help me order it.
But think about quantity, because I don't think that if you have all of these different boaters coming in throughout the season, wouldn't it be nice, when you see them and you go to their boat, you hand them one of these, and then
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
hand it
We
on
can
to
always
somebody else.
order more.
We can, that's
You
true.
can always order more, and we
So-
can make that a welcome gift. The only problem with the welcome gift is not everyone comes to the office to check in.
Correct. I mean, the mooring field is built where it's kind of hands off. They don't have to come
Mhm.
into the office to check in. Everything's done online and by the Docla app, so it makes it a little bit easier. Plus, with us.
And please, I'm not trying to make your life more difficult, Sam, but I want to protect you in the sense that if you're going to work with Nicole, make sure Nicole checks with Jason or Amy to make sure that you don't have any procurement guidelines if you're spending money on behalf of the town in terms of vendors and.
Okay, I won't be spending it. I'll just be setting it up and handing it over to
Whoever.
somebody.
So I
So
need
the, so the town will be actually doing the
Town
procuring.
will be writing the
Perfect.
check.
Yeah.
I'll just be maybe preparing an order, and all they'll have to do is click
It
it.
just, there's so much procurement bureaucracy that we have to be sensitive to, so I just want to make sure you're protected, yeah.
And then I need to make sure in my budget that because we're going to be paying for these keychains, correct? Out of
Yes, I
out of the
believe so.
mooring field budget.
Yes.
Okay.
That's why I will get I will get your okay, and whoever else you think in the town needs to authorize it.
Okay. I believe we have the money for that. I need to do some
Sure.
looking on my end with my administrative person, and we'll go from there. But
And
I
again,
think that shouldn't be an issue
And in
at
the
all.
interim, if the town attorney is generous with her ethics opinion, then we could maybe have one of the companies sponsor it, or whoever we want to
Okay.
sponsor the.
Absolutely.
Excuse me, Chair,
Yes.
was there a second?
I think,
Not
Jennifer,
yet.
did you second?
No, I didn't. Someone else did, but I
I
would,
didn't hear a second.
I
I
would
heard two ayes, I
probab-
didn't hear a second.
My feeling, if we're still under discussion, is not to put a company's name on the Anchorage Committee keychains, just because for any reason whatsoever, for example, the company goes out of business or something, God forbid, but I think it's better if we're going to order these, that it's just purely the town's keychain versus
agree with Jennifer.
having
Yeah, I think that's
a promoter
I think
on
that's
there.
that's a good
That's
point,
just-
Jennifer. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah,
I agree.
agree. Okay, so we had a motion, and somebody, I think Ted,
I made the motion.
Ted,
I'm on your
Okay.
motion. I didn't hear a
I'll,
second.
I'll second the
okay,
motion.
all right. We have a motion and a second, or, all in favor?
Aye.
Of,
I
excellent, of
Sorry.
allowing us to move forward with thinking that we have $500 or so from the Mooringfield budget for the keychains.
To order 250
Yes.
keychains?
Or whatever amount you think is
Similar.
reasonable.
or more.
That's
Yeah,
right.
if you get a better deal for 500 keychains, for example, the town's children's activity book, the more you order, the less it gets. So, I would definitely look into ordering as many as you possibly can for whatever the budget allows us to do so.
Okay, I feel like we've kind of come to an impasse that until we have a bunch of things answered from our town attorney, we can't really move forward with a lot of decisions. But the outstanding things, once Curtis and I have a conversation with the town attorney and get a lot of questions answered, we will send out information of what those answers were and what the implications are. If we can move forward with a list of sponsors or supporters for raffle, we'll need to put that together. We need to formalize the site plan. We need to work on food, and you're working on the order for the keychains. What else should I keep on that kind of macro list?
Can I just, a point of inquiry, I guess, Madam
Sure.
Chair, was there a motion, a second, and a vote on taking money out of the mooring fields account for the
There was.
keychains?
So I made the motion,
Okay, I just
well,
wanna be on the record that I'm against this.
you're against.
Yes, I'm a no.
There was not a vote.
Okay.
There was a motion and a second, but not a vote.
I think, I heard Jennifer say aye, I thought we had
Oh.
ayes here, so,
Well,
all right,
well,
shall
and-
we?
And just so, like I stated that, when I got brought up, I stated, let me look at things and
Yes.
make sure we are good to do that, because I have so much money at pop, but a lot of it has to do like save it more for, you know, back burner for like maintenance and stuff to the boat, things that arise that are unexpected. You know what I mean? So that's the only reason why I said just let me look at things on our end to make sure, you know, I'm not going to be
Sure.
pinching pennies at, you know, September, August, September, or whatever. You
So
know.
that's a caveat to the motion? Is,
What do you mean
I wanna
caveat to
I
not?
wanna understand exactly what we're doing.
Yeah, I think that we need to hold off on that motion for right now. I believe until we get clear understanding from the attorney, and then
Okay.
for me to also move on. I don't have any problem of doing these key change. I think it's a great thing. I just want to make sure financially.
I also think it's
With
a
the
great thing,
budget.
but then I think we need a motion to rescind the previous motion, so I'll make a motion to, rescind the previous motion with the caveat that, the captain will check his budget to see if the money is there to pay for the key change. Did I do that correctly,
I think so.
Madam Chair?
I think you did.
Second. Lowell, second.
Okay, so a motion from Ed to rescind the previous motion, a second from Ted, all in favor, say aye.
Discussion.
Oh, we got discussion?
Yeah, I do, just, I pulled the keychain thing here. And regarding the breakdown for the difference between 250 and 500, the price is $1.02 for 250 each, and it's only 1 penny cheaper to do 500. So I think we'll be doing the two, there is no setup cost. Regarding the sponsors and putting anything else on the keychain, there's only one imprint area. It's 1 inch by 1.62 inches, which is similar to what you saw on the other keychains, so there really would not be room for a sponsor
Anyway,
on it. Production time is 12 days, so if we could
Okay.
get this going in the next week or two.
Sam, what year is that from?
This right here?
Yeah.
This is, I just printed this in January. And there
Oh,
was
so
a,
those are current prices.
this is current prices.
Okay.
And there was a discount, January discount was 10%, so the total was,
And not to belabor this, Sam, but if we might find a corporate sponsor who would just pay for them without having their name on them, which
Right.
would be ideal.
And then we could just
Assuming our town
announce
attorney
them.
would allow that, yeah.
so the cost was $310, but they were offering a discount in January when I looked it up, so it was $279. So
Okay.
it's
We should have no problem.
it's $1, $1.20, $1 and some change each.
We should have no problem. Once it gets a little up there to like
Yeah.
the 600 range, that's where I'm like, oh, hold on, you know. But
Yeah,
but
and
no,
then
that
we're-
that should be.
Then you
we
gotta
should be all
store
right.
them and everything, but
Correct.
you know what, with a 14-day lag time, if you decide you wanna give them away to everybody, we can just keep ordering them when you
Yeah.
get low.
Okay.
Does the motion still stand?
So do we?
there is a motion still standing, so
Okay.
I think let's vote on the motion to rescind the previous motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
New motion.
New
So-
motion,
okay, what's the new motion?
the same with 350?
With 250.
250, the same with
That,
250.
That I prepare a purchase order, but not click it
Until,
and give the information
Correct.
to Curtis to process.
Then you can send me that. And we'll pay for it. Then.
so that's the new motion?
With the scoot over caveat, right?
Yes,
That Curtis still has to approve it? That's all I'm concerned about.
He's
Yes,
he's gonna proofread it and make sure the layout's gonna
Yeah,
be what he wants on there.
Yeah,
But
he's-
also that he has the money.
It's gonna be
Yes.
very
Correct.
similar, I should have brought last month, but it's gonna be very similar to what we've had in the past.
you wanna put,
is that
assuming he has the money?
If it's around 250 to 300, we should be
I just
fine.
don't wanna dig into Curtis's
Yeah.
budget if there's,
Right.
because
Well-
even this year, we've already had some unexpected repairs that have come up,
so how about this?
and actually a missing boat as well, so.
How about we make a motion that, Sam moves forward with preparing what
Yes.
would be the way forward, and as soon as we get information from the town attorney about how we may offset some of these expenses, we come back to the table and we move forward that way with approving the expenditures.
I'm fine with that, but also, just so you know, you all outvoted me on the other one too, it doesn't have to be unanimous.
No, I just think you make a good point, and it'd be good for us to understand, what the parameters are so that we don't go beyond what we can reasonably afford and that we would reasonably want to take from some
Thank you.
budget.
Appreciate that.
Now, has this motion been made yet?
I think I made the motion.
Chair makes the motion.
I don't know, maybe I can't make the motion.
You can make the motion.
You
Okay.
can?
The chair can make the motion.
Okay. Robert's rules have changed.
So, my motion was that we allow Sam to go ahead with preparing the order, but we not push the button until we have had the conversation with the attorney to find out what our parameters are for offsetting expenses.
I'll second.
Okay? Any other discussion?
Can't,
Robert's rules, the chair can
yes,
make the motion.
I have a, just, can't we just get in touch with, Miss Russ and see if there's, money to be spent
With
for the
who,
key?
Jennifer?
Yes?
With who? Get in touch with who?
Miss Russ, she's a financial department. She's the one that I give all my information to, and she does a lot of the ordering and does all the financing for the town.
I think we could do that, however,
So we were gonna see what was in that pot to be used for the actual appreciation day for
Right.
food and all of that, right?
Right,
So,
right.
so this is totally gonna be separate, that I'm pretty much, Morningfield's doing this on our own for these keychains. Kind of sense, correct? You know what I mean?
Kind of,
Is that
kind
how,
of.
I mean, how do y'all want, that's kind of what I been understanding through this, or am I misunderstanding here?
I think we're overthinking it. It's the
I
same,
think so,
same,
too.
same concept, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
so I guess I would rather figure out what we're allowed to do, then we'll go looking to see what's inside the budgets, what exists, and then we can figure out how we offset the rest of the things that we would like to do.
It's perfect.
Do we want Curtis to go ahead and click the buy now button? It says here production time is what? No, it's,
We're gonna be fine.
Sorry.
We'll
No.
have plenty of
no, it's 12 days. So
Yeah, we're 2 months out.
we're 2 months out. That'll give us, if we don't get it okayed until next meeting, we still have 33 days.
But I'm hoping that we can have some sort of interim conversation, whether that be
Good deal.
through email or whatever.
I'm hoping to
I will
have
get it ready.
answers for us, Chris,
To-
with
to-
the attorney by
Yes.
either today or by
Yes.
at least by the end of this week.
Yes,
You
you're
know,
going to
so.
do that.
I'll get
Correct.
that ready for you.
All
Alright.
right, so do we need to rescind another motion, or are we
I
gonna
don't
vote
think
on
we,
this one?
I'm not sure we got to a vote on this one yet, because we had, we had discussion, so, I feel sorry for the people who have to transcribe this one. So let me just restate what I think I stated. The motion is for Sam to go forward and just put together what the order might be, but we were not going to promise any budget dollars yet until we figure out what the advice is from the attorney and what we think we need to offset and how we might be allowed to do that. That's my motion.
And that's what I seconded.
I think it is. And, all right, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Keychains.
Keychains, there you go. Ka-ching. Okay. I don't know what else we can discuss today. Does anybody have anything else that they want to talk about for Cruisers Appreciation Day? I think it all kind of hinges on what we hear from the attorney.
And
Well,
Chris,
I have a thought.
Okay,
Can you hear me?
we can.
Can I provide? I have a neighbor who has a really fun cornhole. Would that be fun to have?
that takes
just
up
something-
too much space, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think, when we get to the site planning, Jennifer,
Oh.
we can figure out where the primary things would go, if there's room for something like that, and it's an activity, I don't have anything against it.
That's something we can kind of add towards the
Yeah.
end or discuss. If, we look
Yeah.
at the space we have, we look at the tents and the vendors, and then if we're like, and I'm talking like the week of or
Right.
whatever, that's something easy we could throw in there and add, right?
Yeah, to bring it up.
Excellent. Anything else?
as far as the raffle, would we like to, everybody make a list, so next time when we meet, we can assign, I mean, John has already done Lover's Key, but before we go to any other people and just ambush them with 3 people knocking on their door, would we like to get a list together for the next meeting and then just assign it depending on who might be the most receptive?
And Sam, just to add on top of this, once me and Chair have the meeting with the attorneys, and I get the blessing, I have some emails to forward over to y'all that could answer a lot of those questions that you
Good.
just said. He's reached out to other people as well, so I think once I can get that information to you, it'll tie everything in, and I think we're a little bit ahead of what you're saying with these the
About approaching
raffles,
them.
all that
Great.
stuff. Yes.
And so once we get that list, we may be able to come back to the table and say what's missing.
Correct.
And rather than reinventing the wheel, we've had a couple functions, the women's club, all these different clubs have had raffles, and a lot of people have been contributing, Margaritaville and Pink Shell, everybody's been contributing, so we should have a pretty comprehensive list of everybody that's in business.
Okay. Anything else?
Yes. Can we check also, Curtis, to see how many tables we have folding, either 6-foot or 4-foot tables that the town has?
Absolutely, yes. I think we have tables and chairs at Bay Oaks. I will. Do
See if we
you know
throw them.
how many we need, so I can ask for a certain amount, or like ballpark, or are you not sure yet?
I have, well, so far I have, let's see, Keep Lee County Beautiful wants to participate. Chris, after our joint meeting, he said, yep, for sure, he'll send a representative from Captains of Clean Water, Coast Guard, Auxiliary. Of course, they're always volunteering. And some others I'm waiting on, but I would say
So that's 3
six
tables.
takes-
Okay, six tables. That's kind of what I was thinking
Yeah.
as well.
6-foot tables. And maybe
Six
like
6-foot
6
tables?
chairs.
That'd be max, probably.
Oh. Another thought I had is I remember the last one we had benches for people to sit and eat. Are we gonna do anything like that?
I think our plan, Jennifer, is to talk to those restaurants that are adjacent, and they would have the tables for people to sit. and
right.
There already
Okay,
are
that-
benches
I
along.
figured much. I just
Yeah.
didn't know if we wanted to offer a few tables in between the stage and the tents and table setups for people to sit at if they want.
And again, I think once we get to the site planning, we can figure out
Okay.
what we're missing and try to come up with it.
Yep.
Good thought.
And are we gonna work with Snug Harbor, with Nick and Mary and Peter, whoever over there? They've got one section that's actually almost in the park,
Right.
and maybe they would designate that
Yep.
for our people.
Yep, I think that's the thought when we get to that
Correct.
point.
And Nervous Nellies would probably do something similar.
Anything else on cruiser appreciation before we sort of table that for more discussion to come?
Well, I can't help it, but is the goal of cruiser appreciation to promote more people to come and to the mooring field? Is that to get the word out and to promote more people to come, or is it just to appreciate the people that do come?
I will turn it over to Ted because he actually did a little presentation on this before you joined us this morning, Jennifer.
I'm sorry I missed it.
No, that's all right.
Fine. The reason the appreciation was started was to gain the appreciation not only of the boaters appreciating the facility, but that they would go to other boaters and thereby recruit more people to the field. So the appreciation day was to thank the people for having been at the field and having increased our occupancy essentially, but we wanted to get to know them, and then hopefully they would go out to their network of voters and we would get more occupancy. And that the occupancy has gone up and it's been worked on very hard. The staff of the mooring field have gone out of their way to make personal contact with the voters, and it has shown in the increase in occupancy. So the original reason was to honor the voters and hope they would help recruit for us.
And that's absolutely correct, Ted. Also, that one of the other goals was to get the public to come out and socialize with the voters because they're a very interesting and outgoing crowd. And that was part of our, was to get the public to interact with the mooring field patrons.
Reputation building. So-
Wonderful, thank you.
Okay. Anything else about Cruisers Appreciation? All right, public comment? I see no one. Set next meeting's agenda. I would suggest that it includes the same items, maybe staff reports and updates comes before Cruiser Appreciation Day.
Correct.
We talked about having Joe come for a short
Thank
amount of
you.
time, and we could have that happen, maybe at the beginning, even before you do your staff updates.
Okay,
And have him talk about performance to budget on a quarterly basis.
yes. Yes, ma'am.
And perhaps Nicole could join us next time to talk about how we might communicate
Like, yeah,
for the Cruiser Appreciation event.
absolutely.
Yeah. Does that, any other additions, thoughts?
Just the next meeting is March 24th
At 9 a.m.?
at 9 a.m.
Yes.
That's the fourth Monday.
Other agenda additions? Do we need a motion to approve the agenda for next time?
I'll move to approve the agenda.
Seconded by Sam.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, and is there a movement to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
Seconded by Sam.
We have a motion from Ed to adjourn, seconded by Sam. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, the council meeting is the